Two cruise ship crew members or employees working on board a Holland America cruise ship have unfortunately lost their lives in, I would argue, one of the worst ways that I have ever heard of. In this video, we are going to outline the details. Do keep in mind, when it comes to this horrific situation, it is currently under a full investigation as to how and why this could have possibly happened. I'm also in this video going to peel back the curtain from the perspective of a former crew member, because even though I haven't seen anything like this happen, I have seen similar things happen even while I was working on board cruise ships, and hopefully will give all of you a little insight as to what comes with this type of situation and job title that these crew members were working at the time of this horrific incident. By the way, before we start, I do have to put a little disclaimer out there. The details of this accident are very horrific, it's sad, it's tragic, and it may not be for everyone. So this sad story took place on board the Holland America New Amsterdam cruise ship. It was originally launched in the year 2009, so it's not a particularly old or seasoned cruise ship, currently doing 7-day sailings out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, over to the Caribbean. The specific sailing that this incident took place on was between the dates of March 16th through March 23rd. However, before the cruise was completed, one day in fact on March 22nd is when the incident occurred. The ship was over docked at Half Moon Cay, a private island over in the Bahamas, where two crew members were over in the engine room changing some filters somewhere in that specific area. While the filter change job was being conducted, at some point in time at around 9 a.m. local time, there was a steam pipe in the general vicinity that exploded out of nowhere. According to reports at the time when the explosion did happen, there were other staff members that went running out of the general vicinity. However, unfortunately for two of the crew members, they were stuck in that area due to something known as the emergency watertight door. Now, what you have to understand about the emergency watertight doors is that they are located all over the cruise ship. A cruise ship is built into sections, so in the event of an emergency, let's say a water breach or a fire or anything of that nature, the watertight doors will automatically start to close. When they do close, there is no stopping them. They don't have motion sensors to detect another human that's trying to get through the door. They will not stop at all. And once they are closed, which ended up being problematic and is being looked at in the investigation, is that there is no lever or anything of that nature to open that door in order for somebody to get out once it is closed. The ventilation was also cut off in that specific area. For the two crew members, unfortunately, that were stuck in that area, the steam was said to be about 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Two crew members were literally boiled alive, and there was no chance of saving them. Staff that was nearby the area also reported that they could hear the two crew members screaming, and there was nothing they could do. The captain then made an announcement later on during the day. Many that were on board passengers were saying that they could hear him crying over the intercom as he asked for a moment of silence for the two crew members that unfortunately lost their lives during this incident. Of course, my sincere condolences do go out to the friends, family, and loved ones of those crew members that unfortunately have lost their lives in what I would call a freak accident. Yes, there is an investigation underway to see if this could have potentially been avoided, but as of right now, it does seem like this is just something that just kind of happened out of the blue, and nobody really knows why at this point in time. I can't imagine how the crew members on board that possibly knew these two individuals could be feeling right now, but looking at the situation with the watertight doors, it does kind of bring me back to when I started working on board cruise ships. Whether you are in entertainment like I was, or really any department, there are trainings that have to be conducted that we have to go to the first couple days of signing on to a cruise ship and working on board, in which they specifically tell you about the watertight doors. They tell you straight up that first you should always acknowledge where they are, but also to stay away from them, because there are situations in which they can malfunction, and like I said, they don't have motion sensors. They will crush you. I believe there was an incident about a year, 2 years ago, which there was somebody, I believe it was on like a Royal Caribbean ship, that ended up getting crushed to death because she was trying to get through one of the doors, and well, ended up crushing her because it did not stop. There was also a situation in which, well, somebody lost a limb. Those doors will not stop for anybody because it is for the safety of everybody in general on board a cruise ship. We are also instructed to never, ever, ever go into the engine room. Even if you work in that specific department, if you are not on duty, you are not allowed there for obvious reasons. There is heavy machinery. There are so many elements in which you yourself or potentially somebody else, because you maybe have put them in harm's way, could get hurt. So you're not allowed in those areas because, well, unfortunately, things can happen when you are dealing with things like heavy machinery. While the Dutch government at this point in time is one of the organizations that is investigating this tragic event that has taken place, you do have other, I want to say, media and law groups like Cruise Law News that is looking at this more so on the side of negligence, stating that when this event occurred for the two crew members that lost their lives, they weren't even given a chance because they didn't have proper breathing and ventilation equipment on their side to help them breathe during the situation that was taking place. They also state that the watertight doors didn't have a manual lever or a way for them to get out. Now, I did make the argument on the idea of the watertight doors. Imagine if, let's say, a cruise ship was breached and there was water coming into a certain area and the watertight doors closed all of it off, thus keeping the ship from flooding and, let's say, sinking in a particular case. That is very rare. That would probably never ever happen in most cases. But let's say somebody was on the other side and they decide to open up that door, thus allowing the water to go basically wherever it wants around the ship. That also wouldn't be good. So yes, it is tragic, right? You save everybody on board the ship in the event that there is an emergency. And yes, unfortunately, there may be some casualties along the way. That is, I guess, a moral argument. But as far as, let's say, the equipment, it was stated that the steam was in excess of over 350 degrees. While these men, yes, they could have had some ventilation and oxygen, maybe they could have been saved. I guess that is in the realm possibility because we don't know all the details. I have to see when it comes out with the investigation. It still would have been 350 degrees worth of steam in that room. Now, to be clear here, I'm not trying to divide or put blame on the cruise line or anybody. I do believe the cruise line, especially when emergency situations like this happen, do go out of their way to ensure the safety of all guests and crew on board. And even with the announcement, you can hear the head honcho, the captain, is very sad. He's crying while he's talking about it. You can audibly hear him crying according to passengers that heard this announcement. This was not intentional. They were not just trying to be selfish and just saying, oh, we don't care, or being negligent in any kind of way, in my personal opinion. You guys let me know what you think about this story in the comment section below. I do apologize for getting this one out so late. I know it's been like a week since this has happened, but as many of you know, I've had some personal stuff I've been dealing with and taking care of, and I've been trying to play catch up. But of course, guys, let me know your thoughts once again in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and know as usual, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Take it easy.